Jesmond Public School has been around for just over 125 years. In that time, more than 25,000 boys and girls have made friends, learnt new things, and started out their school life. In this video, we're going to go on an adventure into the past to see how our school began. And along the way, we're going to answer some curly questions. More than 150 years ago, there was no school in Jesmond. It was just a small but growing group of farms, houses and factories surrounding Dark Creek. It was first referred to in the Maitland Mercury newspaper.
Dark Creek, the march of progress. As regards the building of houses has been lately perceptible in this locality, and if it continues as it has begun, the number of habitations will, ere long, be considered augmented. Within the past 2 months, some 7 or 8 buildings have been put up, and there are more to be erected shortly. The land at Dark Creek is tolerably good, and were it well cultivated, it would be a productive little district. Repairs to the main road here are urgently needed.
Jesmond was developing fast. You might live on some of the streets that were built back then. Streets like Michael Street, Ralph Street, William Street and Robert Street were all named after members of the Steele family who first owned the land. If you wanted to go to school back then, you would have to walk for more than 25 minutes over mud roads to Lambton Public School, which was already overcrowded. The government didn't think that Jesmond was big enough to need its own school yet. That was all about to change when a new soap factory was built in the banks of Dark Creek. Campion & Co. soap was the most well-known soap in Australia over 100 years ago, with its top secret soap recipe made right here in Jesmond. Before this new activity at the soap factory, more people moved to Jesmond and more children needed a local school. So, in 1885, a proposal was made to the government that Jesmond finally needed to have its own school. Soon after that, the Sydney Morning Herald reported,
"The Minister for Public Instruction has decided to erect a public school at Jesmond near Lambton, and an architect has been instructed to prepare plans."
With that, Jesmond was set to have its own school. A small plot of land was purchased, only half the size of the current school grounds, and building work began. Which brings us to the mystery surrounding this unidentified photo. Could this be the first Jesmond public school building? This photo was taken by a local resident, Ralph Snowball, who usually recorded the locations of his shots, but strangely not this photo. According to the Newcastle University, it's an old unidentified school. That is, they don't know which school it is. Could this be Jesmond Public School? And if it is there any way of knowing who these children are in the photo?
There's a few things stopping us from being certain. This is in fact Jesmond Public School. Our school started in 1887, but this school says 1886, 1 year earlier. Does the date on this building mean it's not Jesmond Public School? It might not seem like a huge difference, but there were many schools being built around 1886 that all look very much like this one. For example, Carra Public School was also built in 1886. You can see from this drawing how it has a simple brick chimney, a row of high rectangle windows, doors at either end of the building, and 3 center windows at head height. All similar features to the building in our photo. So how can we be sure if this building is in fact Jesmond when so many other schools were made at the same time? The answer is found when we compare the building in the photo with the current library building at Jesmond. The building in our photo has a few very distinctive features. Notice first how one end of the building extends out, second, how the chimney is off-center, and third, how there are 2 windows to the left of the chimney but 4 windows on the right, and they're not equally spaced. These features should make identifying the building in this image easy. So let's compare it to our library building today. It looks like our library has a few differences to the photo, but they could have been added since the photo. First, we see that one side of the building is longer than the other. Second, we see that the chimney is off-center. And third, there are 2 high windows on the left and 4 high windows on the right. And they have the same strange spacing. In fact, these common elements make it certain that this photo really is Jesmond Public School. Newcastle University have since updated their records, and this previously unknown school is recorded as Jesmond Public School.
But what about the date, 1886? Does that mean Jesmond should be celebrating its 126th anniversary? Well, it seems that even though the school building began construction in 1886, the actual classes didn't start until 1887. The building is 126 years old, but our school really is 125.
That's one mystery solved, but can we work out who those children are in the photo?
We don't have records of children's names, but before the government agreed to build the school, the local Jesmond community wrote a list of all the names of all the children who needed to attend school. And one of those names was Elizabeth Blacklock. Elizabeth Blacklock was one of the first students at Jesmond Public School, and she even came back to teach here for 6 months. There's a plaque in her honour behind the new hall. Even though there were over 100 students in that first year at Jesmond, could one of these 4 girls be the young Miss Lizzie Blacklock at 8 years old? Maybe this dark-haired girl in the middle.
Whether it is the young Miss Blacklock or not, Jesmond Public School has a rich history of starting in hard circumstances and growing to serve the community around it.